Three, two, one. What's happening, everyone, and welcome back to the greatest podcast you've never even heard of. This is MC Podcast in episode 140. So, in this week, we have a bit of something slightly different, Stephen. We talk
Yes, yeah.
flat Earth. Like, we like conspiracies. We do like conspiracies. We've done the JFK conspiracy, Princess Diana, moon landing,
Yeah.
all bullshit, like, but yeah.
But we
We do.
got, yeah, so it's one of those things that I think we can probably admit it's out of our wheelhouse. And it's what I was looking out of the episode. We brought on David Wise, he basically runs his own sort of flat earth business, you could
Mhm.
kind of call it. It's kind of like, it seems to be his job now, that he kind of goes on and talks about flat earth theory.
Mhm.
I knew nothing about flat earth. And
Yeah.
also, I think it's interesting. Like, the whole debate is interesting because people who believe the Earth is flat, they just label everyone else as like a glober, and it's
Mhm.
like this like debate. Whereas, as I mentioned on the podcast, 99.9% of the people don't
Don't.
think about the Earth. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
don't think about it. So I never really wanted to view this episode as a debate, as in I'm trying to prove that the Earth is round. I just kind of wanted to hear what he said,
Yeah.
and I just found, like, I just wanted to hear what he thought.
I wanted to get a normal like just a conversation about flat Earth, why people believe there's a flat Earth, and where the flat Earth origin comes from. Because obviously we used to believe the Earth was flat years and years ago. Then we realized the Earth was round, it was spherical, or whatever you want to call
Mm,
it. But now there's this new movement coming out. It started
yeah,
probably about 10 years ago with the flat Earth. That's why I want to have the conversation about. We're not scientists. Like, we don't
yeah,
have the actual knowledge to disprove whatever he's saying, even though his what he's saying probably isn't right. But it's hard for us to disprove it. I tried to. I think that's where the conversation
yeah.
kind
It
of
went
became.
it went in a direction that I don't think it should have went.
We didn't want that. We said before we want to have a conversation about the conspiracy itself, kind of a vague conversation around it, and why I
Mhm.
think it doesn't stand up to other conspiracies. But whenever I brought up other conspiracies, JFK's, they don't compare them, even though I wasn't comparing them. And he wasn't a fan of our friend Jarrett Williams for some weird reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he maybe,
Got someone else mixed up. Got
yeah,
mixed up.
I think we viewed it as, this is something that, oh, like, we look at the JFK and we look at Princess Diana and we go, oh, this is interesting, the moon landing, let's learn about it. But we're viewing that as like a conspiracy and just want to learn about it. Whereas this is this guy's life. So I get it. Like, this is what this guy fully believes in, and this is his life. So whenever he's like talking about it, he doesn't want it compared to like
That,
JFK.
I think that's what
You
I
know what
kept
I mean?
trying to say. I'm not comparing them, but I'm just using them as a frame of referencing, not the way
Yeah.
why I believe the JFK assassination actually happened, because
Yeah.
there's reason behind it. And the question you put towards them, like, what is the purpose of the
Yeah.
government land just and say the earth is round when it's flat? Things like that there, I just don't think there's much in it. But again, he tried his best to explain to us. But
Yeah.
so after the conversation, where do you stand now?
Oh no, I mean, I don't think the Earth is flat, to be honest. But my only rationale for saying why I don't think that is because I just don't see the motivation to tell the lie.
Yeah.
That's why, and that's what I was looking to get out of it. I mean, as we say, I'm not a scientist, so I can't give you all the figures as to why it's round.
Hmm.
But and I feel like, if you got someone who is knowledgeable and this is what their passion and this is what they talk about, they're going to have all the research and the PowerPoints and the slides and the fucking videos.
Yeah.
And if they, it's almost like, I compared to people on the internet that are really knowledgeable about a topic, and then they go out on the street and they interview everyday people. No matter what the topic is, that person who is more knowledgeable is going to look right.
Or they're
So it's like,
prepared better as well.
yeah,
Like the guy Steven Crowder does a lot, doesn't
yeah,
he?
yeah, and you're like, no matter what the issue is, even if you are right or wrong, you have more knowledge in this whole general topic, and you're speaking to everyday people, so you're always going to look better. And that was my
Yeah.
sort of fear going into this. But I think something like this here, like, I would like to see David have a debate with a scientist, like actually have a debate with
That's good. Yeah.
not just two fellas that are just,
Let's get on it.
all I wanted out of the podcast was just his, well, how he got into this and why he believes it. I just
Yeah.
don't think the episode really went down the path that I
We
wanted it
want
to,
it.
but
We
that's
want it.
okay. That's
Yeah.
okay.
So if you're tuning into this episode thinking that we're going to somehow disprove the flat Earth theory, we're not going to, because we don't have the science to back it up. We did try. I tried to stumble my way into a cohesive conversation about
Yeah.
science and all too. But again, all due respect to Dave, he is a
Yeah.
professional at debating, at presenting. So every time I threw something against him, he was able to wiggle his way out to a different conversation. But that just shows you how good he is at talking and debating and stuff. For us, we're not like that. We're just having a conversation. And I think maybe we should explain that beforehand, because I didn't. And we obviously watched him do podcasts before, and we knew he kind of presents. We didn't want that. We'd say us try not to have him presenting, just to have a conversation. But again, he's so good at it. He's carried on with it. So
he's interesting. Like, as I said before, like, even if you don't believe him, and even if you don't want to believe him, some people don't want to believe stuff. Whenever you have someone who's so passionate about a topic, it's always going to be interesting to me. Even if I think this is a bit crazy. Like, Dave he seems like a really nice guy, and he's really passionate about what he believes in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, that's interesting to me.
I think the only reason I didn't like it is, or dislike the way his tactics were, was that he's not even like allowed us to actually, like, he almost put us down for our opinions off the bat. Like, he almost like, oh, these are kind of, he didn't say we're stupid, but he was kind of alluding to that there. I'm like, well, mate, come on. Like, for us to, let's imagine the earth is flat. The earth is flat this whole time, and he was right. You can't blame us for thinking the earth is round. Every scientist and every politician and every pilot, commercial pilot, has said the earth is round. So it's not, we're not stupid for believing it. You know what I mean? It's like,
but I guess he's probably viewing it as he just wants to speak to people who have an open mind, you know, like, and listen to him. And I mean, I don't know if I care that much.
You are now listening to MCPodcasting.
Oh, there he is. He's back. Kept us waiting.
You're in Ireland. It's okay.
It's late here. We're almost going to bed.
What time is it?
It's 7 o'clock. Where are you speaking this from, David, anyway?
Near New York.
Near Manhattan area, are you?
Yeah, like 20 miles.
Amazing. So we're just going to jump right into this because we don't have that much time. Okay, first of all, I'm Dan. That's Stephen. We don't believe in flat Earth. We believe the globe, but it's one of them. But we are conspiracy heads. No, I mean, we've done conspiracies on the podcast before. You know, JFK is a big one. We've done the moon landing. Done Princess Diana, which is actually quite fitting for today.
You don't believe we went to the moon?
I don't know. I never did until me and Stephen did a podcast where we had to do proper research into it. And then the more I researched it, the more I was like, fuck, maybe we did want to the moon. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not sure anymore.
We're gonna fix that today.
So, David, I just want to say, from my perspective, because I know, like, it's really easy to kind of fit yourself into, oh, you're a flat earther and, oh, you believe the globe is round. I'll be honest, I don't think about it. So that's where I come from.
That's the thing. Let's talk about that. So there's the people that believe they live on a globe have two things in common. One, they, besides not looking into it, they have a misconception. First, they think the flat earth is a disk floating in space with other flat planets or round planets. That's not what the flat earth is. The second thing is, they don't even know their own model. Because I didn't know my own model. So, you know, in the heliocentric model, do you know how fast the Earth is spinning?
Yeah, 1,000 miles per hour.
1,000 miles an hour. That's faster than the speed of sound. So when you're watching the sunset, the sun staying still, you're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound. That's ridiculous.
That model, obviously, in the background, that's saying that we're in a vortex, and we're obviously not. That's what you need to remember about the solar system.
Incorrect. This is the heliocentric model. We're spinning 1,000 miles an hour, orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles an hour, and we're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour. But that's what you have to believe.
But there's no absolute motion in space. I think that's what we need to remember in it.
Well, but no, there is relative to a point.
Everything's relative. So I think that's what you need to remember. So our concept of, like, physics is obviously going to be slightly different. It doesn't mean it doesn't make sense, the laws of physics, when it's in space. It just means we need to change our perception of how we view it. Is that way it works?
But all of the other stars are doing similar motions. They're all going like a beehive, like bees in a beehive. The question I have to you is, how can the stars never move? You go out tonight, check the stars at a certain time next year, same time, or 10 years, same time, same night. the stars are in the exact same place.
But they're so far away. They're millions of light years up now.
They're not millions of light years.
Oh, they're millions of miles away.
They're trillions of miles away. So,
yeah. So of course that small movement isn't going to be that much. Like we're not going to see it in our lifetime, are we?
Well, that's what they want you to believe. But let's talk about distances for a moment. So and distances and sizes. The stars that we see are like our sun. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So our sun is this big. It's a big yoga ball, and we're a BB or a marble next to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I brought the sun very close to the earth, a mile over your head, it would fill the entire sky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For model
sure.
sake. Can I move it? How far away is the sun?
I don't know.
How far?
I would know.
93 million miles.
Yeah.
93 million miles. It literally goes from filling the entire sky to the size of a coin held at arm's length due to perspective, right? It's just going away. It's getting smaller.
Okay.
If I made this 8 times farther, scientifically provably, its angular size would be too small to see it. Okay. It would just it reduced from the entire sky. So 8 times farther. The closest star to us is 40,000 times farther than that 8 times distance.
But it's not because of light traveling. So the light travels to us. So we're not actually seeing it. We're actually looking into the past. People say, don't we?
Yeah, but we're talking
so far
about,
away.
Yeah, that's what you believe. There's no science behind that. There is science that says, hey, light weakens over time. Every time you half the distance, every time you double the distance, it's a quarter of the brightness. So brightness doesn't work. Angular size doesn't work. We cannot see it. It's scientifically provably impossible to see. And the other stars are magnitudes farther.
Okay, so I know we don't really read into it there, David, but the question I really want to ask you, obviously you probably think you have so much evidence and all too, but what was, and I'm sure you weren't always a flat earther. I'm sure there was a time you
Absolutely not. I laughed at flat earth.
Yeah, exactly. So what was the one evidence, not that you heard, but the first evidence that made you go, okay, let me start looking into this here?
Yeah, I did it myself. I saw all these videos where there was observations across frozen lakes, across water, where we can see things that should be miles below the curvature, or hundreds of feet, and we can see them. So I bought a super zoom camera and I zoomed in. I'm right outside of New York. The place I was at was just about 25 miles from the Whitestone Bridge, which is a bridge that goes over to New York. And the top of the towers on the bridge, the tops of the towers should be 416 feet below the Earth curve. And not only could I see
Sorry, go ahead, David. Go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
So the tops of the towers should be hidden. Like it should be hidden behind the Earth curve, right? The 2 towers should be behind the Earth curve. But not only were they not behind it, I could see the deck of the bridge, I could see the legs below the bridge, and I could see the footings that were holding the legs up.
What formula are you using though?
I'm using the globe Earth math formula, which is 8 inches per mile squared.
But I don't think I've done a wee bit of research that's coming in this year. First of all, I'm not a scientist. Me and Steve aren't scientists. But we do a wee bit of research before we do the podcast. The whole 8 inches per square mile doesn't actually make sense, does it? It's not the actual curvature. It's something that was developed in 1881, wasn't it? And so I can't remember what book it was, but I know a lot of flat earthers do quote that book. But the actual curvature, the formula isn't that. You need to use trigonometry to actually understand the curvature of the Earth. So I don't think that's the right formula.
So when does the curvature start? On a 24,901 mile round ball, when does a 6 foot tall person standing at the edge of flat water see a curve? How far out?
I'm not too sure. You're asking me these questions.
You're not sure, right? But we've done it. Even some people say, well, it's only half of that. Okay, half of that. It should be 200 feet below the curve, and we can see the bottom of the bridge. We can see too far.
But that whole 8 inches per square mile, what does that actually mean? That way, because I don't think it actually makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Okay,
so if you're at the top of a tangent of a ball, the first mile it's going to drop 8 inches. Now it's not going to drop 8 inches per mile because that would be a slope, right? As you're going out, the drop gets greater and greater, faster and faster, to the point where it's going straight down. So for the first few thousand miles, it works perfectly fine. After that, there's issues.
So what about the actual curvature formula that scientists use today? Not in 1881. It's the actual.
No, this is the one they use today. This is the
No,
official. If you go online and look up Earth curve calculator,
I did it.
science uses that.
I did.
Okay.
They use a totally different one. They use height equals the radius minus radius
Okay. So
cosine.
25 miles from a 6 foot tall observer. What's the curvature?
I'm not asking. We're not doing mathematics here, but I'm just saying that's
Oh,
the
I thought you had
actual.
the curvature calculator
no,
up. Because if you
no.
look it up, you'll see
No.
that there's hundreds of feet of curvature, and we can see too far. What? Let's go with this. What is your Give me your best proof for the globe.
You're the one that is trying to go against the consensus, are you? So you're
Well, no,
trying to prove to us.
consensus is
I
not
have,
science.
but we have 99.9% of scientists, 99.9% of like even pilots, astronauts all say the Earth is a globe or a sphere or a
Incorrect.
parachip.
Incorrect. That's a belief of yours, and belief is the enemy of knowing. We've interviewed hundreds of pilots, and that
Give me
most
names,
lots
by
of them
example.
know.
Can you give us names?
What's
Sorry.
that?
Can you give us a name?
We
Sorry.
have so I have an app that has has a playlist in it called Pilots. Pilots and scientists, are they all in on it? And if you go in there and click that playlist, you can see it. There's tons of interviews. We interviewed a KLM pilot who was telling us how she knows the Earth is flat, how the instruction manuals talk about treating the Earth as a flat, non-rotating plane, how gyros work, and how the observations from the cockpit when they're doing long distance flights where they can see the sun never set in certain situations. And they came on, she did a whole show with us. The next day she was grounded and fired.
So,
Okay. So all the Qantas pilots, they all know. They're all talking about it in their lounge, but they say that they can't come out publicly.
So I'm sure you probably do have a select few pilots you've chatted to, but the vast majority, like the overwhelming majority of people, scientists,
So that's your belief, but you're incorrect. Then now I will give you the majority. It's definitely over 50%. I'd say it's probably closer to 80%. Think it is, but they're the ones that have never looked at it. It's only when a pilot actually looks at it. They're in there. They don't fly the plane. They land the plane. They let the plane take off, but that's it. The GPS does all the rest of the work. So they don't know that they're flying over a flat stationary plane. But if you look at it, like if you look at on the equator, we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. So if you're here on the equator, you're going 1,000 miles an hour. If you're up all the way up in Alaska, you're only moving very slow. Like let's say you're at the North Pole, you're not moving 1,000 miles an hour. You're moving less than a mile an hour if you're just outside of the North Pole. Okay, because your circle is only, if you're a mile from the North Pole, you're going to go travel 3.14 miles every 24 hours. So that's less than a mile per hour, way less. Okay, so you're on an airplane there and you fly to the Ecuador and there's a north-south runway that's moving sideways at 1,000 miles an hour. How do you land on it?
It's all about the actual reference and plane in it. Was it?
Those are just words. How does the plane speed up sideways 1,000 miles an hour during its flight?
It's because when we leave our planet, like when we jump, we don't jump and then the Earth moves below us.
Because it's not moving.
Because we take the momentum from the Earth. It's like, for example.
So I'm with you. I'll go with that. But let me just answer.
Can I explain? Just one.
Go ahead.
Just carry on there.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, for example, if you stand on top of a car and the car is going 30 miles per hour, if you jump, you don't fly off the back. You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
That's because you keep the momentum of the car.
I'm with you. But the momentum, if you're at the North Pole, is zero.
It means
the momentum in Alaska is 200 miles per hour. The momentum at the equator is 1,000 miles per hour.
Based on
how does a plane? What's that?
Based on what? Sorry. Based on
so if I was standing right here, this line that goes all the way around the globe is 24,000 miles around. It's a little longer, but we'll just call it 24,000. So it takes 24 hours to go around. So if you're here, you're going to go around this globe in 24 hours, and you've traveled 24,000 miles. So you're going 1,000 miles an hour. If I was 1 mile from the North Pole, the center of rotation on the globe, I'm making a much smaller circle. In 24 hours, I'm only going 3.14 miles, if you remember your basic math. So 3.14 miles divided by 24 is like less than a quarter of a mile an hour. So less than a mile an hour, how do I fly to Ecuador and land on a runway that's going 1,000 miles an hour sideways?
It's because, okay, and I'm not too sure where you're going with this here, but
where I'm going is, where does the plane get that sideways momentum of 1,000 miles an hour?
Because the plane is moving with the Earth at the same time.
So how does it gain that extra speed?
I'm not
How
too
does
sure.
it gain 1,000 miles an hour speed?
I'm not too sure what you're on about. Sorry, David, but
all right, it's all right. We'll move on from this one. We'll just let the people decide. But it's going 1,000 miles an hour. How about another proof? What do you got?
The question for me as well, like I said, I'm a conspiracy head. Me and Stephen are conspiracy heads. We had Jared Williams on, who wrote a book about these.
Oh, there you go, Jared Williams on.
Yeah,
that's what got you. Good luck with that.
All
right. So listen. There's no sense in me showing you guys anything. What is your proof of the globe? Let's just go down that route.
You're the one who's trying to go against the grain, so I think you need to prove
I am.
to us.
So I don't know what you guys believe. So tell me, you know what I believe. So tell me give me one proof of the globe.
This is what I'm trying to get into. My problem with the flat Earth theory or conspiracy, if you don't mind me calling it that, there is that for you to believe in that, you need to believe in several other conspiracies. Do you not? Like, for example, the moon landing. For me, the JFK assassination is my favorite conspiracy because
I don't like the JFK. I don't like that one.
But you don't need to believe in 3 other conspiracies just to believe in this here. Why? Because if you believe,
I don't need to believe in any other conspiracies to understand that we're being lied to about where we live.
But I mean, like, if you're trying to say the Earth's flat, it means you can't believe they went to the moon, correct? So that means that's
I actually found out the Earth was flat before I understood that we didn't go to the moon.
But you can't believe we went to the moon and also then don't believe the Earth.
You know
sure.
What I mean? It ties together, sure.
That's what I mean. So you kind of need a grander conspiracy to actually believe.
I mean, the fact that they link together, there's no correlation to that.
No, but
I mean, the fact that if you believe that, I mean, there's things like if you believe that we I don't know, it doesn't matter. So what there's two, they rule each other out. They don't, because they're not.
I think the reason I asked David is because
it's a big lie. You're right.
It's almost too big. I think so. Like, if you really think about it, I know you're going to try to prove it, and that's why we have you on. We want you to tell us everything you know. That's why we have you on, and thank you again for coming on. But again, it's bigger than just who shot who, JFK assassination. This is turned into a global thing where you're
don't link the JFK assassination to the flat Earth. Let's talk about flats. I'll take turns. I'll tell you one. I told you that we can see too far. You don't believe that, so now you tell me.
Well, the reason I don't believe that is because if we're in Ireland, that means we can see New York City coming out. Then
no, all right, good. So that's your globe proof. Let me address that. Let me address that. So here's the thing. You say if the Earth was flat, you can see forever. Well, that's not true. Atmosphere has density. So this is a spot in Aluja, France. It's a famous spot where you look out over the ocean, and Mount Canigou is out here. Mount Canigou is 175 miles away, and the top of Mount Canigou should be well below the curve of the Earth. Even if you only used half of the height of the curve calculator, it should be well below the curve of the Earth. But the sun migrates in between the two tropics throughout the year, and there's like 2 days a year where the sun lines up with this viewing spot and Mount Canigou. So the light that bouncing off of Mount Canigou isn't strong enough to push through the atmosphere and make it to your eyes because it's just too dense. It's like trying to look across a long swimming pool and you can't see the far wall. But on 2 days a year, the sun lines up with it and it backlights it, and we can see all of Mount Canigou, where the very top should be a mile below the curvature. So this right here proves that we can't see forever. Whether the Earth is a globe or flat or whatever you think the formula is, this proves that we can't even see 175 miles because light can't push. Now, this light, the brightest light in the sky, called the sun, can push, but it can't even push that far. It can push 175 miles, but it can't push much more than that.
Okay, so but you provided a video or a still, or what that is, of
this is a video.
A video, sorry. I can just provide you videos of NASA of the Earth.
No, hold on. That untrue. This is something you can go do yourself. There's hundreds of people that have filmed this, and you can go verify it yourself. Nothing you show me by NASA could be verified by anybody other than NASA.
If this was a proper debate, it would be a bit unfair because I can provide all these photos, all these
What photos? Tell me
from,
one.
from NASA. But again, you're gonna say they're fake. They're composites. And
Well,
stuff.
hold on. I'm not going to just say they're fake. Just like I showed you, we can't see forever. I just proved it. So now you're going to say photos from NASA. What type of photo
But
from NASA?
How does that prove that? That doesn't prove flat Earth, though.
No, what I'm telling you is you said we should be able to see New York or whatever. You should be able to see forever. I'm proving to you that we can't even see 175 miles on a clear day. Okay. I'm proving that to you. Right. So forget the fact that this proves that there's no curvature. It proves that we can't see 175 miles, period. So now you're saying there's photos from NASA. What photos from NASA?
I mean, what photos? All their
Like
photos? Not all their photos.
What photos from NASA? Like this one? This one that proves dinosaurs?
Oh, you don't believe in dinosaurs as well?
Well, I'm just saying, does this prove that there's dinosaurs?
No, it's fake, obviously.
Well, it's a photo. Come on.
Yeah. What?
All right, what photo from NASA proves that gives you proof of the globe? Name one.
Was it the blue pearl or something? Whatever you call it.
The blue marble?
Blue marble, for example. There you go.
You actually believe that this photo proves that the globe? This is the blue marble. This is what they took
or the 24-hour like stream. They have the 24-hour stream of the globe, and you can see the curvature clearly. Is that
what 24-hour stream of the globe? There's no 24-hour stream of the globe.
Yes, there is.
You mean the 24-hour ISS feed?
Oh, so it's fake.
Well, it's the same loop that they've been playing for years. It's the same loop of just a few minutes. It's the same thing again and again and again. And the curve of the Earth keeps changing depending on where their fisheye lens is moving. So let's look at this. Here's two pictures from NASA. The United States is twice the size on one of them. If we take the second one and we look, this is something we could actually verify ourselves. We can drive across Mexico, we can go across Baja, and we could say, all right, this is 934 miles. NASA tells us the diameter of the Earth is 7,917 miles. I should be able to fit 8.5 of these in between these two lines, but 8.5 of these doesn't even fit on this page. That proves that this is a painting and not a photo of Earth.
David, can I just ask, sorry,
yes,
all I want to just ask is, obviously these pictures are taken from NASA. So what do you think their motivation would be to lie to us about this?
Good question. Thank you, Stephen. The answer is they want to hide who we really are and what power we really have. It's all about controlling our minds. And if you believe that you live on a spinning ball flying through infinite space, where you're a random accident after a big bang, that a bunch of mutations happen and a fish turned into a monkey that turned into a human, then you basically give away your true power. And they don't want you to know that nobody has dominion over you. They want you to live in fear that an asteroid could take us out, fear that, global warming, fear that we're going to run out of dinosaur juice for our cars. All of that stuff is nonsense. Fear of nuclear bombs. They want us living in fear and giving away our God-given free will to them. The only power they have over you is the belief in your mind. It's like the dollar. The dollar has zero value. It's only in your mind that it has value, and other people believe it also.
And then
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I guess so. Just outside of NASA, obviously, there's a lot of other agencies. Like there's over 70, I think.
It's all coordinated. They're all in it together. They all have the same vector symbol. This vector. They all use this symbology. And if you look at any of the stuff, I mean, did you guys watch the Mars landing the other day?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
what did you think?
Which part did you believe? I mean, did you believe this part? This is the best proof they have that we went to Mars. This is a cartoon. This is what they showed us. This is what everybody was clapping about. This is what these people were watching on their screens. And people believe this?
What about the actual Mars rover in Mars?
What actual Mars rover?
Well, okay, sorry. What they say, the Mars rover, the live stream of it, not the live stream, but the video of it on Mars. You think that's fake as well?
Yeah. So this is Devon Island and this is Mars. It kind of looks the same to me, right? This is Devon Island and this is Mars.
Different color,
right?
No?
It's the same thing, right? This is Devon Island and this is Mars.
Or that's
Devon Island looks like
this one is actually from NASA's website, and you can and look, you can see the rover, right? But this is Devon Island. It's the same shot where the sky was taken out. It was turned into a sepia tone.
So it's all fake, you mean? It's all like CGI, you mean? Yeah.
I'm showing you that it is, and it's not deniable. I mean, it's not undeniable. It's unbelievable. So if you look at the space station, guys, if you look at the space station, like, how come there's no land down here? This is obviously from the space station, right? Where's the land?
But again,
where's the land? Where's the land?
Just because
just
because you can't see it doesn't mean the Earth's flat. Are you just trying to say because you don't trust NASA, therefore?
I'm asking you a question. Is this from the space station?
I don't know. You're bringing up a random video.
Where's the land, though?
I'll trust you and say yes, it is from the space station.
Oh, well, you're trusting me. That's stupid. All right. What I'm showing you is this is not from the space station, but this is the crap that they show us. And they always show us a little piece of the solar panel. But in reality, this was taken in our front yard. Okay. We just turned it upside down and put a solar panel over it. Right. Yeah. This is how easily your mind is tricked by them. I mean, this is the first spacewalk, right? The Earth is spinning counterclockwise. How does he turn his head in a helmet that doesn't turn? The helmet is fixed to the suit, but he turns his head and the helmet turns. This is claymation. This was the first spacewalk, right? And this is provably fake. If NASA's faking that, they're faking everything.
Okay,
right?
David. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say.
No, I was just going to say, this guy, while you're talking, this guy drops his hammer and he's hanging from wires so he can't pick it up. Go ahead, talk.
We did a whole 2-hour episode on the moon landing as well when I think me and Stephen didn't believe it, but I think I've changed my tone on it a wee bit more. But anyway, there's another thing that comes up when you talk about flat Earth or you watch flat Earth videos is obviously gravity. Is that something you believe in or you don't believe in?
Yeah, so let's talk about gravity. What is gravity? So Neil deGrasse Tyson, all science says they don't know what gravity is. They have to make up over 90% of it. They say it's dark matter and dark energy because it doesn't work without it. The problem is, are you guys familiar with the 3-body problem?
No.
So we live in a solar system where the sun is going, the Earth is going around the sun, right? The moon is going around the Earth. The other planets are going around the sun. The other planets have their own moons going around. There's 60 or 80 different bodies in our solar system. So the problem is you can take the world's best supercomputer and you say, okay, I've got a ball, it's the sun, it's got this size, this much gravity, and I've got a little Earth and it's got this much gravity, and you can set it into orbit in this supercomputer and it works like a perfect timepiece. Everything works. It'll predict where the sun's going to be, where the Earth is going to be in forever, whatever times. You can set them in any motions that you want. It works beautifully. Then you add one more body, a moon or another planet going around one of the other bodies, and the entire thing falls apart and never repeats. The entire thing falls apart and never repeats. How come when the moon goes in between the Earth and the sun doesn't rip the moon away, or at least tug it a little bit? Just perturb it a little bit. It doesn't. The magic gravity of the sun only holds on to the moon, to the Earth. The Earth holds on to here. When all the other planets line up, they don't tug on anything either. It's all pseudoscience, unprovable bullshit.
But isn't the moon's moving slightly further away or closer to us every day?
It doesn't matter. The sun is able to hold on to the Earth.
But isn't it?
But when the moon is closer to the sun than the Earth is, how come the sun's gravity doesn't pull on the moon?
Because it's further away?
No, it's closer.
The moon's closer to the sun.
Closer to the sun than the Earth is.
Oh, sorry, I meant that there. So you don't believe gravity then? You don't believe it?
What is so I just showed you that they don't know what gravity is. They have to make up 90% of it as dark matter and dark energy.
Okay.
And hold on, I'm going to tell you what gravity is. You want to hear what gravity is? Now this, you're going to have to actually think to understand this. So gravity is a theory. It's never been proven. They've tried experiments where they can't get, mass to attract mass. The Earth.
But they have done it before.
The Earth. What's that?
They have done gravity tests before, haven't they? Not?
No, they've done the Cavendish experiment, and it was so wildly flawed that anyone that looks into it, 2 balls hanging in a barn that attracted each other. It's nonsense. It's complete and total nonsense.
Well,
there's static.
Sorry, go ahead.
They do it. They did it. There was styrofoam in there, static charges, all sorts of stuff. It was so flawed that no scientist even says that it's real anymore. And no one's ever been able to prove it. What's that?
They're in university. They do it during their classes.
They don't. Go look it up. Show me an example.
Okay, I'll send you a link after.
So the Earth has a measurable negative charge to it. Not a theory, a testable, measurable negative charge to it. The Earth is electric. right? The only true forces here are electricity and magnetism. When you leave the Earth, you go and there's voltage in the air, and it gets at a meter, it's about 100 volts. At 2 meters, it's 200 volts, and it keeps going up. When you leave the Earth, you get a positive charge to you. That positive charge is attracted to the negative charge of the Earth. It establishes a downward direction. It's a very weak force. And then buoyancy and density sort everything else out. If I had a handful of ping pong balls and marbles, I held them in the air over a pool, and I dropped them, they would both fall through the air because they're more dense, right? The negative charge is saying down is this way. Then the ping pong balls would sit on top of the water, and the marbles would go to the bottom of the water because of density. Right? Down is down for me. Down is down for Australia. Down is not up for Australia. Down is down. Down is down for everybody. Up is up for everybody. Forward and backwards, left and right are relative to your position.
But you didn't really disprove gravity there. You kind of just said.
I'm with you. So you can't disprove a negative. You can't disprove gravity is a theory, and I could show you that my theory, it's not a theory, it's a testable, repeatable observation. Here's a triangle of tinfoil, and when we put a negative charge to it, it floats in the air. It goes up. It goes up. Okay. Here's another thing. Here's a metal plate that we put a negative charge on, and this is a Van der Graaf generator. And so this metal plate here, when we charge it up stronger than the Earth's negative charge, anything we put underneath it that's nice and light will go up. Wood filings, pieces of paper, metal, human hairs, they go up because what are we doing? Defying gravity or just defying the negative charge of the Earth? That's it.
So what would you say to people that said that we can measure gravity, everything falls at the exact same rate regardless?
That's because of the negative charge of the Earth. It makes perfect sense. Theirs is a theory. Ours is provable. But we can measure these things that were just going up in this video. We can measure it. We can make them go up at a certain speed because of the charge of the plate. So did I just prove gravity, or did I just prove that negative charge has a force?
Well, I'm sure you did some sort of test there. It doesn't prove or disprove gravity. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Like what you're saying, I get what you're saying. It makes sense, but it doesn't disprove gravity. Things still fall in a downwards motion towards the center of the Earth. The theory of gravity all makes sense. You can measure it, you can record it, you can test it. Everything falls at the rate of gravity. So how is that? So
what difference does it make?
That's what I mean. So you do believe in gravity? You just believe it's a different, basically different. So you don't believe?
I believe that the charge of the Earth has a downward force, and things fall at whatever speed. It's because of that negative charge. If you cranked up the negative charge of the Earth, things might fall faster.
So if you have a bit of metal and you put a negative charge on it, do you think it's going to float?
It depends how much negative charge you have on it, and there has to be a negative charge above it.
What I'm trying to say to you. So that's your theory.
We did it in this experiment here. Metal filings went up.
But what about people who do gravity tests and stuff? The Cavendish.
What gravity? The Cavendish experiment failed miserably.
Doesn't
You're mistaken. It failed miserably. How come when you hang a plumb line next to Mount Everest, it doesn't go sideways?
You can just go on the YouTube and watch people doing it. The people do it at our university. You know what I mean?
Yeah, watch it. There's something you have to you can just watch something and believe it, or you can say, wait a minute. They had styrofoam in there.
It's not even that there. You can do it, you can test it, you can repeat it, you can measure it. There's these.
No, you can't.
That's why
you're mistaken.
That's the bad thing about the flat Earth theory, not too. Is like you're really going against science, and that's the bad thing about it.
Wait, what science? So the only science that you have is two balls in a barn that have the experiment was wildly flawed. You're uneducated on it. It's okay. You think it's real, but you haven't looked into it, and so you don't know what science.
Gravity.
So first you said pictures of Earth. You're throwing the word gravity out there. Gravity is just a theory. Gravity is a theory.
It's a proven
not in the
theory.
Flat Earth world.
It's a proven theory.
No, it's not. Science. Go look it up. Wikipedia even tells you it's only a friggin' theory. Not that you.
I can change Wikipedia. It doesn't mean anything.
Well, what I'm saying is gravity is a theory. You think it's proven,
but
scientists. You said you're not a scientist. Scientists say it's just a theory.
Because everything is just a theory. They can't obviously be certain about everything. That's why they call it a theory, the Big Bang theory. But they're like 99.9% sure the Big Bang actually happened, but you know what I mean? They can't call it certain because no one's there.
Are you friends with the Angry Irish podcast? You know those guys?
No. No.
All right, just
We're from.
checking.
Are you getting sort of flashbacks?
Why are we on their podcast?
No, it just you guys have very similar thinking.
I will say
Go ahead,
it's Daniel speaking.
Shut up. Because of Zoom, we have 5 minutes left. So before you go, David, and thanks so much for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate it. What is the one evidence that you believe just proves flat Earth? Not disproves. I think we need to remember, not disproves the globe, proves flat Earth. I think that's.
We can see too far. You can't have high pressure next to a vacuum without a physical barrier. Every test that's ever been done to prove axial rotation has not done it.
What did you say about? You cut out there. What did you say about the vacuum? I didn't hear you there.
You can't have a vacuum next to high pressure without a physical barrier. You can't have.
But a vacuum.
Every test. But space has no pressure.
But a vacuum is just nothing. It's not like
yeah. So if the second floor of your house had a big container that sucked all the air out of it, it was a vacuum like space. And you had a valve coming into your room, and you opened it up through the ceiling.
I think
the air would equalize instantly.
Firstly, do you think a vacuum sucks?
No, I just think it's no pressure. High pressure equalizes to no pressure.
A vacuum basically means nothing. So if you look at like our atmosphere, and the higher you go up, it gets less and less because everything's going down. So it's less and less. The gradient, our atmosphere is a gradient. So therefore, eventually it'll be nothing. There's no suction whatsoever. That's not a vacuum.
No, that's what you believe. You believe that it goes to nothing, but it doesn't. The heavier molecules go down, and the lighter molecules go up due to their
gravity,
due to their weight.
It's gravity.
Due to their weight. No, due to the electrical charge. There is no gravity.
One more thing before you go, and I think Steve may have another question here, but one more question from me is that what proof do you need that the Earth is a globe?
Show me the angular rotation. Show me, put a camera on the moon and watch the Earth spin. Show me uninterrupted footage of a rocket going into space. You watch any NASA SpaceX video, within the first 15 seconds of a launch, there's 20 cuts. It's ridiculous. But
if we do show you out there, and if there is a video of that, you're just going to say it's fake, are you not though?
Well, no. Show me an uncut footage. The NASA will never show you uncut footage of a rocket launch. They always edit it like 3 or 4 times before it clears the tower, and then it's all edited, and it's nonsense. The angles, like the SpaceX launch the other day. It was way up in space, but they were filming it at like a 45-degree angle. How did that happen? They were able to film it at the same angle, even at a ridiculous height. Makes no sense. None of it makes sense. Listen, you guys are you're set. You don't want to learn. It's fine. But you come up. Give me. I'm offering a full Bitcoin for one globe proof, just one. And take the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac app challenge. Watch the daily video every day for 2 weeks and come up with one proof, and then you win a Bitcoin.
Is that the map? What map do you actually use? Sorry, do you mind me asking? I've never seen it.
We don't have a full map of the Earth because it's unexplorable, and GPS it doesn't let us go to certain parts of the world. But the Azimuthal Equidistant app is the map that I think is the closest to the truth. The globe is so far off; it's not even funny. Go find a globe and look at the bottom. And ask yourself, read the sticker on the bottom. It says not for educational purposes, for decorative purposes only, because it's so far off from reality. It's not even funny.
Here, David, I actually would love to talk to you more. I have so much to talk to you about, but our Zoom is going to throw us out here. So again, thanks so much for coming on. And
let's do it again. I'll run the Zoom next time. It's unlimited. So
yes,
let me know when this is up, and we'll go from there.
You are now listening to MCPodcasting.